It wasn't just a film about rebellion. It was a rebellion. Behind the padded walls and dimly lit corridors of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest lay a real asylum, real fear, and a cast slowly losing their grip on reality. What began as a masterpiece of acting turned into a psychological experiment where art, ego, and madness fused into something no one was prepared for. Let's open the locked doors and step inside the darkness. These are 20 dark, twisted secrets from behind the scenes of one of cinema's most haunting creations. Fact number 1. Filmed inside a real mental asylum. Forget studio sets. This film was shot inside the Oregon State Hospital, an operational psychiatric institution. Patients lived there. Treatments were real. Director Milos Forman demanded authenticity, so he had his cast act among real patients and staff. The eerie part? Some patients wandered into scenes unnoticed because they weren't acting. The line between performance and reality dissolved fast. By the end, even the crew admitted that the atmosphere of the hospital started to affect their minds. It wasn't filmmaking. It was immersion on the edge of sanity. Fact number 2. Jack Nicholson wasn't told when the cameras rolled. Foreman had a cruel but brilliant trick. He never yelled action. He wanted raw emotion. So he kept the cameras rolling constantly, without Nicholson's knowledge. Jack thought many scenes were rehearsals and grew irritated, his anger boiling over naturally on camera. That frustration became the lifeblood of McMurphy's performance. When Jack shouted, cursed, or glared, it wasn't scripted. It was real emotion, perfectly captured. That unscripted chaos earned him his first Oscar and turned madness into method. Fact number 3. The cast attended real group therapy. Before the cameras rolled, Foreman sent his cast into real therapy sessions with actual psychiatric patients. No scripts, no cameras, just actors sitting in circles with people living with mental illness. Danny DeVito, Christopher Lloyd, Brad Dourif, each walked in as actors and walked out shaken. DeVito even developed an imaginary friend during filming to cope with the emotional overload. The line between acting and reality blurred beyond recognition. It wasn't just method acting anymore. It was psychological exposure therapy. Fact number 4. Nurse Ratched was truly feared on set. Louise Fletcher's portrayal of Nurse Ratched is one of cinema's coldest performances, but the cast's hatred for her wasn't acting. On Foreman's orders, Fletcher isolated herself from everyone. No small talk, no meals together. By the time filming began, the tension was real. Nicholson couldn't stand her. Dourif avoided her gaze. When Fletcher finally tried to celebrate with the cast after wrapping, the room went silent. She walked out crying. That quiet hostility helped create one of the most terrifying villains in movie history. Fact number 5. A real spiritual cleansing took place. Will Sampson, who played Chief Bromden, wasn't just an actor. He was a Native American medicine man. When he entered the hospital for the first time, he felt darkness lingering in its walls. He insisted on performing a private ritual to cleanse the spirits before filming began. The crew didn't understand, but they allowed it. And something strange happened. After the ceremony, the set's energy shifted. People described the atmosphere as lighter, calmer. Sampson never bragged about it. He just said the spirits had been heard. His presence on set wasn't performance. It was sacred. Fact number 6. Brad Dourif's breakdown wasn't acting. Brad Dourif was only 24 when he played Billy Bibbit, the nervous, fragile patient with a stutter. During the emotional confrontation scene with Nurse Ratched, Dourif broke down completely. He began shaking, sobbing, and couldn't stop. Foreman didn't yell cut. He let the cameras roll. What you see in that scene isn't acting. It's a young man genuinely breaking under pressure. Afterward, Dourif locked himself in his trailer for hours. Decades later, he admitted he still couldn't watch the film. The pain you see on screen is real. Fact number 7. Michael Douglas almost lost the movie. Before he was a star, Michael Douglas was the man behind Cuckoo's Nest. He fought to get it made after his father, Kirk Douglas, was denied the lead role. Studios rejected it for years. Too dark, too controversial, too strange. Eventually, Michael teamed up with producer Saul Zaentz, who finally brought it to life. But ironically, Michael doubted Jack Nicholson at first. He thought Jack was too cool for McMurphy. Turns out, that confidence was exactly what the character and the film needed. Fact number 8. The cast wasn't allowed to leave the hospital. Foreman wanted claustrophobia, not just on camera, but in their minds. He ordered the cast to live inside the Oregon State Hospital during filming. They ate hospital food, slept in real wards, and followed the routines of patients. After weeks, the isolation began to sink in. Even Nicholson started showing signs of cabin fever, snapping at the crew. The cast didn't just act like mental patients. They began to feel like them. It was genius filmmaking and psychological torture. Fact number 9. Louise Fletcher was almost ignored by the Oscars. While critics praised Nicholson and Dourif, Louise Fletcher was overlooked at first. Many called her performance too quiet, but that quietness was her power. When she finally won Best Actress, the moment became historic. She signed her acceptance speech in American Sign Language to thank her deaf parents. It brought the audience to tears. Fletcher's control, restraint, and humanity made Nurse Ratched unforgettable. Fact number 10. Nicholson and Foreman nearly fought on set. By the end of filming, tension between Nicholson and director Milos Forman had reached a boiling point. Nicholson hated Foreman's style, no action, endless retakes, vague direction. During one therapy scene, Jack snapped. "What the hell do you want from me?" Foreman calmly replied, "I want you to be real." Jack stormed off and refused to speak to him for days. But that bottled-up rage transformed McMurphy's energy in the final act. Defiant, furious, unpredictable. Their conflict gave the film its pulse. Fact number 11. The real doctor played himself. Not every actor on screen was pretending. Dr. Dean Brooks, the real superintendent of the Oregon State Hospital, played Dr. Spivey in the film. He wasn't just consulting. He was part of the story. Foreman trusted him so much that Brooks gave the cast real psychiatric evaluations before filming. Those sessions shaped each actor's performance. He even allowed the crew to use real patient files for reference. The hospital's reality became the movie's heartbeat. Fact number 12. The crew nearly got arrested. During filming, the crew often broke hospital protocols. They wandered into restricted areas, filmed without clearance, even borrowed medical equipment. One day, a nurse caught them filming a shock therapy room in use. Security was called. Nicholson and Foreman both had to explain themselves to hospital officials. The shoot was almost shut down permanently. Foreman convinced them by promising to portray the hospital honestly. And somehow, it worked. Fact number 13. Jack Nicholson's electric shock scene was 100% realistic. The infamous electroshock scene is burned into cinema history. Nicholson refused to use a body double or fake straps. He wanted it to feel real. He told the makeup team to tighten the head straps until they hurt. His body shaking, the veins in his neck, none of that was acting. The intensity was so raw that crew members walked off set, unable to watch. That scene became one of the most disturbing and powerful moments ever filmed. Fact number 14. The ending was almost changed. In Ken Kesey's novel, the story ends from Chief Brahman's perspective. But Foreman initially wanted something different. A more open, hopeful ending. The cast and crew rebelled. Will Sampson threatened to quit unless they stayed true to the book's spirit. Foreman eventually agreed, giving us one of the most haunting finales in film history. Silent, tragic, but free. That single change turned the ending into a cinematic legend.